he's quitting the race.
Is that right?
Yep, I got him out of the race. And that means we have Kamala. I think she's going to be better. She's so bad. She's so pathetic.
It's so amazing.
To pick Kamala Harris as my vice president. He says, and it's been the best decision I've made. Today, he says, I want to offer my full support and endorsement for Kamala to be the nominee of our party this year. He concludes by saying, and again, this is President Biden saying, Democrats, it's time to come together and beat Trump. Let's.
Before we get started, I got to reference a previous video that I did. A lot of people got mad over that video that I did involving Amber Rose and why it was that Matt Walsh was wrong. And you guys know me. I always double down on what I have to say. However, I'm actually here to compliment Matt Walsh in this tweet because it was diversity, equity, inclusion that these people ran on. And if you guys remember, Kamala Harris was designed to be nothing more than a diversity hire, which we'll talk about here soon, because it's going to be one of the many things we're going to talk about in this video. But I found this tweet to be quite good because it was truthful. It was 100%. These people ran on DEI, these people ran on equity, and now they're about to be fully undone by DEI. I just think that right there is one hell of an observation, and I wanted to say that before we get started. With that there out of the way, let's go ahead and get into this. As I'm doing this video on Sunday night and releasing it on Monday afternoon, some things are obviously subject to change. So what happened? Well, Joe Biden decided to exit the presidential race. There's actually a lot about this situation here that suggests that he did not make this decision on his own, but they actually launched a coup against him, which I find kind of odd, especially given the fact that nobody is talking about the fact that 11 states have already decided on Biden as their nominee. And as John Basham pointed out in his tweet about the situation, Biden's name cannot be removed or replaced, including a state like, say, Wisconsin and Nevada, two states the Democrats probably would need to get over. They can't actually replace him unless, of course, he's been 25th Amendmented or he's died. It just feels to me like there's a lot of other shoes here to drop. I mean, maybe Kamala Harris is inserted in as president. I mean, we've also got this topic of vice president. We've also got this topic of who she'll take as VP. We've also got this topic of how Democrats and liberal influencers are acting, case in point, Van Jones.
We're pushing for this to happen. It's kind of like when your grandpa, you got to take the keys. And everybody, you got to take his keys, you got to take his keys. You got to... And he's fighting, and everybody's so frustrated. And then you finally get the keys back. And then you just cry. Because this is somebody that you love. This is somebody that you care about. This is somebody who was there for you. This is somebody you wouldn't be here without him. And you have to take something from him. Now, this is not, look, politics is politics. But this is a human moment for one of the great humans in America. This is a huge moment for him, for his family, for all of us who love him, for all of us who wanted him to get across the finish line. But if you're a young person watching this, this is leadership. This is patriotism. This is what it means to put the country first and put the party first and put the cause first. When your arm gets tired, you let somebody else finish pitching the game. That's what Joe Biden has done, and he's done that for all of us. And so I just want to say, I don't know who's going to be the VP, the non-VP. I don't know anything about politics. I just know that I love this man. I care about this man. It was painful every day to sit up here and talk about him like he's just some problem for the party.
I just find it funny that these guys are crying over the same guy who locked up an entire generation of black men with the 1994 crime bill, who also locked up other black men with the 1991 crime bill, who also said that he did not want his grandchildren to go to school in what would be a racial jungle. I kind of find it odd these people are crying over a guy who bragged about working with Klansmen, the same guy who also eulogized a former Klansman, Robert Byrd. I just find this to be absolutely hilarious. I also find it absolutely hilarious that the party that's preaching democracy's on the ballot, Trump's a threat to democracy, all that type of crap there, just did the most undemocratic thing you could ever do, and it looks like this right here was actually a coup. Now, like I said before, there's a lot to discuss in this video, and a lot more things will be coming out, but let me go ahead and tell you right now. The games this summer, every moment until the election, is going to be absolutely hilarious and absolutely entertaining. I'm really and truly going to love, and I mean love, watching these people scream racist at their own party as they try to remove this woman from the actual presidential nomination. So basically, Biden put out a statement, and of course, the statement did not endorse Kamala Harris. Basically, what he was doing was he was saying that, look, I'm not going to seek another term. I've, done the normal BS and lies you would get from Joe Biden. And of course, people have already started coming out and endorsing Kamala Harris. I think that the real reason why they're doing it is to try to avoid some of the chaos of the Democratic National Convention. They want to try to get the party to coalesce around her. I think that they're doing this because they believe it's a good way to try to protect the Senate, because the Senate map for the Democrats this year to defend is a pretty god-awful one, a pretty daunting one. But we'll talk more about that in another video. The idea is to try to get people to go ahead and coalesce around her. But I'm also going to explain in this video why is that right there more than likely will not occur. But still, at the same time, it looks to me like that right there is what they're trying to do. And of course, when you look into this and you read more and more into it, it actually looks more like it was a coup. I mean, as a matter of fact, Biden did not even endorse Harris initially. Then he would later on post this tweet, or his campaign would, endorsing her. Some people have taken this as Joe Biden inadvertently or being spiteful and screwing Democrats and saying, here, this right here is the problem. But as I've said before, they can't just sidestep Kamala Harris, and they can't just create a brand new campaign with about 3 or 4 more months to go. As a matter of fact, the Democratic National Convention is not until the 3rd or 4th week of August, so you really wouldn't have much time to put together a campaign to run against Trump anyways. If anything, this right here just makes the impending defeat a lot worse, but we'll get to that.
And it's happening before us. They want to take Biden out to take Harris out.
Roland, I'm thinking about your book, White Fear. One thing that we need to have a kitchen table talk about is that the Democratic Party, Republican Party are tools in which the Black community can use to advance their interests in this country. It does not.
I'll let you guys see what Roland Martin was saying about this. Of course, it was about 30 some odd seconds, and you caught that woman at the end. But let me go ahead and tell you right now, there's a lot more to discuss. So we're going to be talking about Kamala Harris, the electability argument, why it is that this right here is not a done deal, but at the same time kind of sort of is, and why it is that even though I might have said that I got it wrong when it comes to Joe Biden remaining the nominee, I was not wrong about the Democrats not being able to just simply skip her over. There's also rumors out there that Gavin Newsom has already stepped in and said that he wants to make a pitch, but then again, though, he's also denying those rumors. There's also talk of the possibility of Kamala Harris taking possibly my state's governor, Roy Cooper, as potential vice president, and I'm here to tell you right now, he sucks. Also, if Roy Cooper was to become the VP, that would mean that the Lieutenant Governor, Mark Robinson, who's running for governor, automatically becomes governor by the fall. It would only be for like 3 minutes. It'd be very, very weird, but still, though, we got a lot to discuss, so make sure you guys stick around for the full video. And also, we got to run the blooper reel of Kamala Harris, so that way you guys can know exactly what to expect. Now, originally, this video was supposed to be more of an initial reactions video, but I figured I would kind of throw in a little additional nuance in there because obviously over the weekend I was not able to get certain bits of content out because the weekend ended up being a little bit busier than I thought. And don't worry, the video on what happens to the left will come out tomorrow after this one here, because tomorrow, once again, you guys know Mondays are a pretty bad day for me because of the landscaping stuff that goes on outside the apartment. It's basically noisy for like 3 or 4 hours. It's really hard to record, but it's also a good day to catch up on the news cycle. And also to go on top of that, on Wednesday, I'm not going to be anywhere near around here. Got to go back to the doctor, all that type of stuff there too. Post-op procedure, they got to take a look at everything. Of course, I had the surgery 4 weeks ago, so obviously we got to do that there. But here's the thing. It was reported this weekend, and I'm only using Alex Jones here because Alex Jones and Tucker Carlson have been right about a lot here recently, that the person that was set to take over for Joe Biden was actually Hillary Clinton. Take a look.
All right, folks, it's Saturday night, and we saw The Hill, all the news reporting Hillary set to replace Joe Biden. I called Roger Stone, I called other sources. They said, yeah, that's the word. They're really going to try to replace Joe Biden in Chicago with Hillary Clinton, with all of her criminal activity, all of her background, all of this. So they are literally involved in a Democrat civil war, a power struggle over what puppet gets control. Biden had a closed election. He had a closed primary. That was all rigged. He stole the election 4 years ago, tried to take Trump off the ballot, and now Hillary is swooping in to be the nominee above Big Mike, Gavin Newsom, Governor Whitmer, Kamala Harris, all of them. This is huge. It's all over the news. They're actually going to try to do this. Is how arrogant and crazy they are. So Hillary Clinton thinks, with the deep state behind her, that she's going to be there because they want her. She wants World War III with Russia. She's
Real quick, editing Claymore here. A lot of people are wondering why it is that Biden just chose not to step down, why it is that he chose just simply not to resign. I have really, to tell you the truth, this is kind of baffling to me because, as I have kind of explained over previous videos, that this is not a situation where all the ills of the administration just go away. I mean, Kamala Harris took place in the actual cover-up of Biden's health. I said before, she was not popular. The only reason why Joe Biden would still stay in office while this is going on is because Hunter Biden has got a trial coming up in September. And of course, he's going to be pardoned because that's a tax evasion charge, a tax evasion trial, of which, by the way, he's going to be found guilty of that one too. So it seems kind of shady, but it looks to me like that is the real reason why it is that Joe Biden is in fact staying in office and just not seeking another term. It's still pretty daggone shady, but I figured I needed to throw that in there before I went any further because you guys know me. I'm kind of a pretentious prick, and I like to try to throw things in there, even if I come to the conclusion a little bit late. I apologize, but now back to the video. Now, like I said, I'm only using Alex Jones because Alex Jones and Tucker Carlson both have been right a lot recently. But I remember thinking about the time that she was at the Golden Globes and how people were complimenting the way she looked. And I was like, you know what, third time probably a charm she'd probably go for. Of course, she would lose anyways. As a matter of fact, I think if they go with Kamala Harris, if they went with anybody besides Biden, I think that the landslide that Trump was already set to get would just be a lot bigger. And Joe Biden, quite frankly, was actually their best chance. But leave it to these people to tell you that simply having a Democrat who's a little bit younger than Joe Biden it automatically makes them more electable. I don't think that's the case, especially given the fact that the American people can see that they were lied to about Biden's cognitive ability, the same exact way the American people have been getting lied to about the economy, the way they've been getting lied to about inflation, the way they've been getting lied to about the border crisis. It seems to me that the American people being given Kamala Harris as the alternative to Trump is not exactly going to sit well with a lot of people, especially Democrat Party voters, especially those who voted in the 2024 Democrat primary. The reason why I'm bringing this up is because these people were ultimately voting not for Joe Biden, but Joe Biden's successor, and they probably feel a little bit hoodwinked. But then again, though, like I said, there are people out there who would just simply vote blue no matter who, regardless of the situation, regardless of who the person is. Now, some very interesting tweets came out after this. One of these I thought was pretty funny that came from Sean Fitzgerald, the actual Justice Warrior. Shout out to him. Where he basically said, right in Joe Biden, this is obviously jacked up. He was basically trying to be kind of funny, but you guys can obviously see the tweet. There was also these tweets that came from the Mostly Peaceful Latinas podcast. These girls basically reminded us all that black men and Latino men more than likely will not want to vote for a black woman, especially if her name is Kamala Harris. Don't get me started on that, but I'm pretty sure that there's a little incident that happened in Kamala's past that might give people, I don't know, the impression that maybe she doesn't have 100% of the black vote. A lot of black men are just going to say, screw this. I did not want this woman to be the VP. I voted for Joe, or maybe I stayed home. Okay, I'll vote for Trump to keep this woman out because if you guys remember correctly, I think it was Tulsi Gabbard who brought this issue to light.
That is disproportionately negatively impacting black and brown people all across this country today. Now, Senator Harris says she's proud of her record as a prosecutor and that she'll be a prosecutor president, but I'm deeply concerned about this record. There are too many examples to cite, but she put over 1,500 people in jail for marijuana violations and then laughed about it when she was asked if she ever smoked marijuana. She blocked evidence. That would have freed an innocent man from death row until the courts forced her to do so. She kept people in prison beyond their sentences to use them as cheap labor for the state of California. And she fought to keep cash bail system in place that impacts poor people in the worst kind of way.
Thank you, Congresswoman. Senator Harris, you're...
And let's also not forget a roughly minute and 46 seconds here of cackling Kamala Harris just simply being Kamala Harris.
You think you just fell out of a coconut tree? You exist in the context of all in which you live and what came before you.
Burdened by what has been, you know?
What can be, unburdened by what has been. What can be, unburdened by what has been. What can be, unburdened by what has been. What can be, unburdened by who we can be, unburdened by who we have been.
Poor hubby. Poor hubby.
Not.
He knows how to sell right there. Okay.
Ukraine is a country in Europe. It exists next to another country called Russia. Russia is a bigger country. Russia is a powerful country. Russia decided to invade a smaller country called Ukraine. So basically, that's wrong.
Given this polling data that I'm showing you guys right now, everything you just saw, I want you guys to already know, and I'm sure you already do know, Kamala Harris is absolutely terrible, and her favorability ratings are actually lower than Joe Biden's. She's probably the least popular or least liked vice president. I mean, this woman is less popular than Dick Cheney, and he shot a guy in the face. Let that sink in. But once again, though, the Democrats are screwed. I played that a little bit earlier with Roland Martin. I'll play the other half of it here in a second. Roland Martin explained, and I did a video on this right earlier, and you guys know me. I'm no fan of Roland Martin, but I will give credit to somebody when they get something correct. He basically pointed out that the Democrats are not going to be able to replace Kamala Harris for two reasons. Number one, a certain portion of their base will go absolutely crazy. The side of the base that they've radicalized the most, black liberals, especially black liberal women, are going to be extremely upset by this. Also, not to mention the fact that you've also got a lot of progressives who want to keep Biden out there because he's obviously the one vessel they have to get their agenda through, because Biden is governing like a progressive, even though he himself is really just a liberal, which is not that different from what the hell we're seeing out of today's liberals or today's left. But still, at the same time, I'm pretty sure you guys know where I'm going with this. He's extremely weak. He's their best chance at passing a lot of the crap that these people want. So obviously, there are certain sections at the base that are in fact upset. However, getting back to Kamala Harris, the problem with replacing her, number one, is that you're going to piss off the most loyal section of your voting base, which is black women. But problem number two, of course, was also this little bit that I'm about to tell you now. Number one, 11 states have already decided to keep Biden on the ballot. The next problem is this right here. You're not going to be able to just up and remove Biden from the ballot and replace him, but still at the same time, in order to get the campaign funds, the donations, the fundraising money, everything that they've actually built, that money can only go to one person, Kamala Harris, or somebody who's actually in the administration. Which brings us to the next part. Who the hell will be Kamala Harris's VP pick? Well, seeing how it is that this right here is going to be, once again, kind of a redo of 2020, meaning that you can't criticize somebody because they don't have a, they're a woman or they're a certain color. It looks to me like they're probably going to go full-blown woke and probably put Pete Buttigieg on the ballot as the VP. Yeah, I'm calling that now. A lot of people were out here screaming and hollering that Andy Beshear will be the VP when he's the governor of Kentucky, an extremely conservative state, and yet he's the one Democrat and it's actually the one progressive out there. Very weird thing with him, but still, Kentucky's an extremely conservative state. I'm still trying to figure out how it was that Andy Beshear got elected, but still, though, when 80% of your state legislative body is conservatives and Republicans, it looks to me like it's pretty daggone obvious you're not going to be liberal enough for these people. A lot of people are also bringing up Josh Shapiro. Josh Shapiro has only been the governor of Pennsylvania for like a year. I highly doubt he's going to throw away his career over this. Wes Moore in Maryland, same exact problem, but also to go on top of that, they would only go to prove that they're going to be doubling down more and more and more on the identity politics section, but only the black side of the identity politics section. So instead, they're going to go with the gay white guy as their VP. It's pretty daggone obvious. But will this work? No, it won't work. If anything, you'll lose a lot of black votes, especially black men, and older blacks will simply be told by pastors not to go out and vote for it, because there's one thing that community will not go for is gay white men. And as you guys already saw at the very beginning, it seems to me like Trump was already ready for this. I mean, check out this ad.
Kamala was in on it. She covered up Joe's obvious mental decline.
Our president is in good shape, in good health, tireless, vibrant, and I have no doubt about the strength of the work that we have done.
But Kamala knew Joe couldn't do the job, so she did it. Look what she got done. A border invasion, runaway inflation, the American dream dead. They created this mess. No, Kamala owns this failed record. Make America Great Again Inc. is responsible for the content of this advertisement.
Joe Biden's cognitive decline, the media's lies, Kamala Harris being in that administration, telling everybody every day that Joe Biden was fine, that he was cognitively good. And of course, the lies continue to mount up more and more and more. No wonder this woman is so unlikable. But that brings me right back to the Roland Martin clip. So let's go ahead and get to that.
I mean that the Republican Party or the Democratic Party are always or are in the best interest of Black communities in this country. So I just want to say that so we get, as we're framing this conversation, this is absolutely about taking out Kamala Harris. We could go back to the 2020 campaign and we could look at those who do not support Kamala. Many, even among some of my former colleagues, I had conversations, especially with white women who said, oh, there was something about Kamala they just didn't like. One of them, tell me specifically, what is it about Kamala Harris that you do not like? And none of them could identify it to me. And some of those white women no longer talk to me, but that's okay. My point in saying all this and about white fear is that what we're seeing, I think I mentioned this on the show a few weeks ago, there's a difference between winning and...
Now, gang, I said earlier that there's one part of the base that's going to go crazy if she's removed. And of course, I said it was probably going to be Black women, Black voters as a whole. However, white women don't like her already. It's kind of like the whole Al Bundy quote, what is it, only women understand each other and they absolutely hate each other. White women in particular, even white liberal women, do not like Kamala Harris. It's probably because of her past. I mean, we all know that she was Montel Williams' side piece at one time. We all know that she was Willie Brown's side piece, former mayor of San Francisco, and he passed her over to bring back his ex-wife after he won re-election. But of course, we always have Judge Joe Brown to remind us exactly of this woman's past.
Queen La Imhoff in there. You know who Imhoff is?
No.
Yes, you do.
Who?
Mrs. Imhoff, Vice President of the United States, who goes by her maiden name,
Miss Kamala?
Kamala Harris. She's got 2 Jewish children she adopted. She married a Jewish husband who's got a interesting...
I'm scared to talk about Kamala Harris. I'll let you have that one.
No, she's a witch, and she is a corrupt witch. She's been corrupt her whole life, and she fucked her way to the top.
Oh, Lord.
They used to detail this witch in the LA Times with her sexual escapades. She fucked damn near everybody trying to get up. She used to be a frat hoe when she was at Howard. And she ain't Black. You know,
I ain't got nothing to do with this, Miss Harris.
No, I mean, well, don't, but she's
I don't know. I'm just listening.
Well,
Queen La Harris. Also, something else too. It was revealed that she was actually a Hindu Brahmin. And no, she's not Black at all. She's half Hindu or half Indian, half Jamaican. So yeah, you gotta love Judge Joe Brown for reminding us of what is. And let's go back to the very beginning of the video. Do you guys remember what I was saying about Matt Walsh's tweet? Well, let's go back in the past one more time. So what was Kamala Harris originally?
I'm elected president, have an opportunity to appoint someone to the courts. I'll appoint the first Black woman to the courts. It's required that they have representation now. It's long overdue. Secondly, if I'm elected president, my cabinet, my administration will look like the country. And I commit that I will, in fact, I'll pick a woman to be vice president. There are a number of women who are qualified to be president tomorrow. I would pick a woman to be my vice president.
But, Mr. Vice President, if I could just follow up. Just to be clear, you just committed here tonight that your running mate, if you get the nomination, will be a...
And how did that come to pass? Well, let's go back to the last part of that Roland Martin segment.
Winning and power. These people here want power. They don't always care about winning because you don't have to get the W in order to coalesce power. I also remember the summer of 2020, I was a part of a large group of Black women where we told Biden, hey, if your VP better be a Black woman, here is the short list. You need to pick someone from this list. And fortunately, he did. And so Black women are paying attention because we hear what's going on, we see what's going on. And
in 2019, the Democrats had absolutely no bench of candidates, okay? This is what they had. They had absolutely nothing. The best thing they had was Bernie Sanders and Elizabeth Warren. That's really all they had. Andrew Yang, I have no idea how the hell he even got on stage. They even brought in Michael Bloomberg, which was a very, very strange choice to bring in. But then again, at the same time, given what we know about the current Democratic Party and what they've been trying to do, it's not the strangest decision in the world when you actually think about it. Basically, a tough-on-crime Democrat is what he is, even though he at one point in time was Republican that then became independent, but yet he's also super in favor of gun control. Michael Bloomberg, somebody that I, quite frankly, would not want anywhere near the levers of power. I'm not saying that he could not be a good mayor, because obviously there were portions in time when he was mayor of New York where it was actually pretty good. But of course, a lot of that was an extension of Giuliani. But still, the point is this right here. I wouldn't want Michael Bloomberg anywhere near the presidency, especially me being pro-Second Amendment and seeing how Michael Bloomberg's past comments, the way he acted about things, the way he treats people. Yeah, I wouldn't want that guy anywhere near that. The fact of the matter is that these people did not have anything. And a lot of people, one person in particular, actually got it correct. I hate to say this, but it was actually Cenk Younger of all people. There's actually a video out there talking about why it was that Bernie was not screwed, because the 2020 Democratic primary was actually not set up for Bernie, even though they angled their rules to be more favorable to a progressive. It was actually designed to propel Kamala Harris, and obviously she fell flat on her face. But still, COVID, the riots, BLM, Biden had already decided he was going to take a woman as vice president, but what ended up happening was that BLM got into his ear and said that we're only going to support you if you pick a Black woman or a woman of color, even though most of those voters would have still voted for Biden anyways. But still, though, when it gets to, say, white women, for example, yeah, they're not as loyal to a party as you might would think. Yes, they still don't like Donald Trump, and no, they're not going to vote for him. But it seems to me that if these white women got a problem with Kamala Harris as the nominee, trust me, they're not going to vote for her. They'll just go vote third party. They'll just go write somebody in, or they may stay home. So it seems to me that Democrats are screwed either way, and in a lot of ways screwed a lot worse than what they would be if Joe was on the ballot, which according to election law, he still will be on the ballot in a lot of these states, even though he's no longer running for president. The fact of the matter is that the diversity, equity, inclusion game is what led these people to this moment. And it's kind of funny to see them eat themselves alive. And the process of them eating themselves is going to continue all the way till Election Day. And probably beyond that as well. This is a party that thrives on eating itself. This right here is who the hell these people are. And go ahead and get ready for it. Get ready for it. They're going to be accusing their own of being racist, all that type of stuff there. I think it was James Carville who said that the stupid wokeness was going to end up killing them, the preachy females. And guess what? It's about to kill them, and you're about to see it in real time. With that right there being said, guys, tell me what you think. I'd love to hear what you guys have got to say. I'm probably going to have the second video come out tomorrow of a few hours after this one right here. It's a video on what happens to the left going forward, especially given the fact that I was not able to get out this weekend. This weekend ended up being a little bit busier than I thought it was going to be. So I got to go back and kind of do one little thing and get it re-edited so that way I can go ahead and get it out there. So once again, there's going to be 2 videos out tomorrow, this one and also that one. And of course, I'll give you guys some more updates when we get some more information, probably later on this week. It'll probably be the video that I release on Wednesday to kind of supplement the fact that I'm not going to be here. And Thursday's probably going to have a bit of an essay type video too, because I have no idea how long I'm be gone for on Wednesday. So make sure you guys stick around. Please hit the like button. Please subscribe. Please share the video. Please comment in the comment section. I'll see you guys later.